Hey there everyone, I'm meteorologist Cassie Knoll and this is your 10 weather impact recap for the week. Let's start with a look at the top weather stories from around the country. In Gurwood, Alaska, skiers took one last run down the slopes to a soaking wet finish to close out the ski season this past weekend. Alyeska Resort hosted its 48th annual Spring Carnival, which included the legendary Alaska Airlines Slush Cup. 50 people attempted to make it over an approximately 80-foot long by 40-foot wide pond at the base of the mountain. Due to the lack of snow this year, the resort began collecting and putting aside snow for this event back in March. For the skiers, the end of the season at the resort went out with a splash. In the lower 48, severe storms and torrential rain wreaked havoc in parts of the Plains and Four Corners regions over the weekend. Adrian Broaddus has an overview of the impacts.
Rising floodwater in Oklahoma threatening homes and sweeping cars off the road. Record rainfall forcing rescues. First responders using boats to bring neighbors to safety as officials urge some residents to evacuate. From above, you can see the creek spilling over to nearby fields.
We've got sheriff's deputies going house to house in areas that are flood prone where people are living, trying to do evacuations.
In Lawton, more than 5 inches of rain fell on Saturday, setting a daily record.
My neighbor's car was floating down the river.
Police say one person was killed after their car was submerged.
All right, pull over now.
Meanwhile, in southeast New Mexico, storms spawning 2 confirmed tornadoes. Damaging hail battering windshields and homes.
We lost our basketball goal. Look at the front of our house.
In Ocean City, New Jersey, the Jones Road wildfire has burned more than 15,000 acres, and dry and windy weather over the weekend didn't help the situation. Miguel Martinez Valle has the latest.
A smoky start to the weekend for those who live or work in Lacey Township as crews battle the massive Jones Road wildfire for a 4th day in a row.
It was very bad, so we're trying to work, and it was very heavy, the smoke, and we are feeling the ash.
Daniel and his crew working in one of several neighborhoods that had forced evacuations Tuesday.
Scary because we had voluntary evacuation, then I guess not soon after that it was mandatory evacuation. My biggest thing is, what do you take?
And while the thousands who left were able to return home, they're not in the clear yet. The Weather Service saying the area is at an increased risk for fire spread today because of dry and windy conditions. That means the New Jersey Forest Fire Service crews had to keep monitoring and putting out hotspots to keep it from spreading.
We're still concerned. My wife just went on the parkway to go that way, and she says it's like unbelievable. Yeah. It's still smoldering.
As fire crews continue their efforts, 19-year-old Joseph Kling will spend the weekend behind bars. Officials say he set pallets on fire in the woods and left the bonfire before it was fully extinguished. They're charging him with arson.
I think it was preventable, so it's pretty sad.
2 wildfires continue to burn in an area of Cumberland County, Pennsylvania. Firefighters have been working tirelessly to create those fire lines, clearing vegetation and exposing mineral soil, which helps to stop the spread of the flames. Officials say they're making significant progress. More than 170 firefighters have responded to fight those fires that have burned over 2,700 acres. And there is some good news. Containment continues to increase. In East Tennessee, Sevier County is working to better prepare themselves for wildfires. The cities of Gatlinburg, Sevierville, and Pigeon Forge are creating a community wildfire protection program. The effort, launched by the Tennessee Division of Forestry, is funded through a state grant. Assessments will take place through mid-2025 to gauge each city, town, and fire district's wildfire risk. The goal of this long-term project is to lower that risk and improve emergency response. Leaders say they hope the project will be finished and implemented in 2026. This past Sunday marked 14 years since the April 27, 2011 super outbreak. During a 24-hour period that day, 55 tornadoes touched down across East Tennessee. There were several long track and strong tornadoes, including 3 EF4s and 3 EF3s. 34 lives were lost, and there were over 450 injuries reported. Beside the tornadoes, widespread large hail up to the size of baseballs and damaging winds were also reported. Switching gears now, scientists use computer models to project what the weather and climate will look like in the future. But a new study in Antarctica is looking at the possibility that models may not have been taking all factors into account. Chase Kane traveled to the southern continent to see how tiny changes in the snow in Antarctica can lead to big changes in temperature for the rest of the planet.
See, if it's already high tech.
Seaweed.
These are the sea grapes.
Growing along Antarctica could hold insight about the future because of its long history.
So that's something that usually lives a lot deeper. You don't normally find that washed up on beaches.
Seaweed is actually a type of algae which has been around since before the dinosaurs.
This is snow algae, so they kind of live on the nutrients that are in the snow.
And Freya Aldred hopes to better understand how this ancient organism is responding to today's climate.
No one's really looked at it in that kind of level of detail. We don't really know how much carbon is stored in these things and does it change across the season.
So what happens in Antarctica does not stay in Antarctica.
Alia Khan also studies algae, but she's focused on how it cranks up the heat by absorbing more energy from the sun.
All this bright snow and ice is actually reflecting sun's energy back to space and helping Earth stay a little cooler. And even though it's a tiny change, this yellowish greenish algae that you can see here in the footprints, that is changing the albedo or changing the reflectivity enough that it's just making the entire planet warm even faster.
And when they are actively photosynthesizing, they have a larger impact on the surface albedo because they're bringing extra energy into the snowpack, which dissipates as heat and causes it to melt faster.
She found that red algae absorbs 20% more solar energy and twice as much with green algae, 40%. Now she wants to calculate how pollution does a similar thing, because everything from wildfires to diesel engines and coal power plants produce soot, and that can travel thousands of miles in the air, eventually landing on top of snow.
This process of the impacts of light-absorbing particles is one of these feedback loops that is not currently represented in global climate models.
So would it be fair to say that because we're not currently including this, that climate models might be underestimating how hot the planet's going to get?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Ultimately, our goal is to collect enough data to reduce the uncertainty in our future climate projections.
And for both these scientists, it's a team effort.
Not everyone can get down here, but people that can, we try to get a lot of data that a lot of people can use.
Because at its heart, this work will paint a clearer picture of the future we all share. In Antarctica, I'm National Climate Reporter Chase Kane.
In Greene County, road crews are making significant progress in the rebuilding of the Kinser Bridge, which was destroyed by the Nolichucky River when Helene brought historic rainfall to the region last fall. The Tennessee Department of Transportation says it hopes to have the bridge finished by late June. Avery Gingrich shares the latest update.
State road crews are on track to reopen the Kinser Bridge by June 23rd. A crew poured concrete onto the rebuilt structure over the weekend, showing off its fresh face to the world.
We have seen so much progress taking place on this bridge.
TDOT spokesperson Mark Nagy hopes it brings neighbors relief.
We understand that there's a major inconvenience to motorists that are having to take a significant detour to get around this bridge.
He says the state is rebuilding in multiple stages simultaneously. He says what'll take about 9 months of work usually takes much longer.
We have an ambulance station approximately 2 miles from Kinser Bridge on the Greenville side.
Greene County EMS Director TJ Manis says the destroyed bridge led to longer response times, especially for people living south of the Nolichucky. Manis says his staff's dedication made a temporary station they built on that side of the river useful, but the winter was challenging.
Keeping an ambulance warm on the inside for the medications and all the equipment that's contained inside the back of that ambulance. Obviously a challenge.
We're surrounded by bridges, so there was no way in and no way out.
Greene County native Renee Gross says losing bridges, including the Kinser, increased her average commute to work by almost an hour.
I don't ever remember a time that it had ever gotten that bad.
She's felt helpless at times, but the bridges have reopened one by one.
I think there's going to be some caution, but I think everybody is going to be in line waiting to go across it as soon as it opens.
And life must go on. From Knoxville, I'm Avery Gingrich.
Emergency managers in Greene County want to remind everyone that in the wake of the catastrophic flooding from Helene in September, the Nolichucky River has experienced notable changes. The river has changed course in places, with new sandbars, eroded banks, submerged debris, and swift water movement in areas that were once calm. These changes pose new challenges for recreation and emergency response and call for greater awareness and respect of the water. Officials want to emphasize that the rivers may look familiar, but they are not the same. They encourage everyone to exercise caution while near the water this warm season. And check this out. A viewer sent us this photo taken near the Loudoun-Roane County line on Sunday, asking what in the world was happening in the sky. Well, this is a great example of a circumhorizontal arc. Rolls right off the tongue. These bright colors are formed by the same basic concept as a rainbow, with sunlight passing through water droplets. But in this case, the cloud is made up of small ice crystals that scatter the light and create those beautiful, vibrant colors. And now let's get a check of your 7-day forecast here. Looking ahead, there is a chance for some rainbows, I would say, if we get some late evening activity with our showers and storms. Rain chances continue to be a little more hit or miss as we go through the day on Wednesday, but Thursday into Friday we'll have a more organized system moving through, which raises the rain chances just a little bit. And as we move into the weekend, some cooler and even drier air will be moving back into the region, even dropping our lows into the 40s for Sunday and Monday mornings. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can always get the latest with the forecast with the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.